I hate this next story. Guys, it looks like the SJWs have set their outrage and sanctimonious sights on yet another target they should never mess with. One of the most iconic and profitable characters of all time, James Bond. With Daniel Craig finishing up his tremendous stint as 007, many are calling for change. Not because of the lack of critic success or box office sales, but because it is time for the British secret agent to be a woman. That's right, 0077 cents on the dollar. I'm Ben Davies, this is Pure Hollywood. Thank you, Owen Benjamin, for that last joke. I can't take credit for that. First off, the wage gap is a myth that was disproved by Thomas Sowell back in the 80s and is disproved when you use a multivariate analysis instead of just adding up all the money men make and all the money women make and comparing it.
How would you try to even that out so that there would be some equality of job opportunities?
I'm sorry you missed the earlier part of the program when I pointed out that where you find people not represented evenly, that does not show the institutional effect, because almost nowhere in human affairs do you find people evenly represented.
Well,
if you compare comparable people with respect to age, with respect to education, etc., you get a totally different picture, both with respect to blacks and women.
But I digress. Chris Hemsworth said in an interview that he thinks Charlize Theron, one of my favorite actresses ever, should play James Bond. Idris Elba, who I also love, said, quote, "It could be a woman, it could be a black woman, it could be a white woman. Do something different with it. Why not?" I'll get to why not. First off, why are we trying to artificially control what humans like, what people are drawn to? The simple fact is there are so many stories that have been invented, that have been told, characters that have been created, thousands of them throughout time. And there are very, very few, a select few that have naturally risen to the top, that we are all captivated by and that we're drawn to, that truly just stand the test of time. And it can be argued that Bond is one of these such characters. And what's great is the ones that do have no particular reason for doing so. There's not some formula that you can go to and be like, okay, I'm gonna create the perfect story, the perfect characters, I'll just throw all these together, and mathematically this is the story that we're all gonna be drawn to for the next 100 years. No, it's not done like that, except through tremendous social pressure or tyrannical control, which happens in North Korea, which is why Kim Jong-il's movies are so good there. You must like this clap, you must like this clap, which is basically what they're trying to do now with these stories. First reason why I hate this and why it's not gonna work. These decisions are not being made to improve the story. It's to progress an agenda. That's it. Think about the last Ghostbusters, the all-female cast they used. Was that done to improve on the other story or just strictly to push an agenda? Please like this, please laugh. This works, right, guys? Right? Do you think Ocean's 8 is being cast with an all-female cast to improve on the original classic heist movie? No. And do you think an all-female Lord of the Flies movie is being created because it's a better way to tell that story? No. It is just an attempt to push an agenda and try to control what people like. You should like this. I want to prove my point. And this is not at all to say movies that could be similar maybe should not happen. I love new and original content. They should create new stories that maybe focus on a new female lead or a character similar to James Bond, which they did in Atomic Blonde with, ironically, Charlize Theron. And the last series of James Bond movies with Daniel Craig have all been very, very good, particularly Skyfall and Casino Royale. And to change a historical, iconic classic like James freaking Bond, because it's time for a female lead actress in a Bond movie. It's just gonna destroy the most famous British spy of all time. And it must be said too, apparently there's no problem changing an iconic European white male into any category of people whatsoever. Changing his character to a different race or sex just for whatever reason. Now I wonder if it'd be racist or sexist to change other iconic characters, if it'd be seen the same way if it wasn't just a white male. Like changing the live action upcoming Little Mermaid movie to a Hispanic bisexual man. Or redoing Bridget Jones to be a black man in Russia who happens to be living as a gay man. Would those changes be made to further the story and improve them, or be made to shame and criticize these iconic characters? Not to mention the very SJWs that want females to be promoted as these heroes, these action stars, do not actually want to see their stars in peril. And the best example of the potential fallout of this kind of decision, recasting James Bond as a female, is the X-Men advertisements for X-Men Apocalypse. Now, X-Men, in a world with so many terrific characters, both men and women, for one character to be singled out as the hero of a story that is a collaboration of multiple characters is a huge honor, and Jennifer Lawrence got that honor for her role with Mystique. Now they posted the hero of the movie on a billboard, Mystique, with the most imposing and greatest villain in the X-Men universe, Apocalypse, and you're supposed to see her there in peril being held out by Apocalypse. People went nuts because of this billboard because they thought it promoted oppression and the patriarchy of men abusing women. Jennifer Lawrence had to condemn it, and Fox had to come out and apologize for this offensive billboard, putting their star in peril. Can you imagine if it was switched? It was just Wolverine up there? no one would care. Plus, we want to see our heroes in jeopardy. We want to feel like we have to watch this thing through to see what's going to happen. But now these studios, because they have to be so careful, are going to draw back the story and the narrative to not risk the outrage and potential financial fallout from the SJW community. The Marvel comic books, for example, which are often the canary in the coal mine because these are the manuscripts all these movies are created from, have suffered massive losses because they've been giving into social justice warriors. Huge drop in sales. They've added so many female characters and changed most of the iconic ones. Everyone's become a social justice warrior, including Captain America being a Nazi. Can you believe that? This has to just stop. James Bond was created by Ian Fleming, the inventor of this character 100 years ago. He wrote this character to captivate and inspire the British people. He thought of a story and a character that would best fit it to best tell this story, and created him accordingly. And there's a reason that this specific character has lasted this long and has been so successful for decades. Please, just please, do not change a 100-year-old character because now we feel like it's time. I'm Ben Davies, it's Pure Hollywood. Alright, if you like this video and others like it, please consider becoming a premium member to The Rebel. That way you'll have first access to Pure Hollywood and the entire Rebel lineup.